With a huge potential WrestleMania appearance for next year and more, this is Wrestling Rambles. My name is John, and you're watching the Wrestling Report. Before we move on, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Rambles with notifications on, and don't forget to like the video. Reflecting on his time as a member of the Judgment Day and the original iteration with himself, Rhea Ripley, and Edge, Damian Priest told Sports Illustrated, "We just had a major moment joining together forming the Judgment Day. It felt like no time had passed, and then it was Edge who told me that he was being taken out of the group. He waited to tell me after TV one night when we were on the road. I thought we were done. I was so upset. When Rhea found out, she was even more mad than me. Edge was mad too. I still speak with him. He was one of our biggest backers. When he told me, I remember him saying all of this for nothing, and I repeated that for nothing. That's the way it felt at the time. I was waiting for the phone call to get released. Obviously, it worked out a lot differently." For details on the original ideas for Kane's iconic mask prior to his WWE debut, Bruce Pritchard noted on his Something to Wrestle podcast, "Yeah, as far as all of the initial iterations of it, giving them feedback on what we saw and how we saw him. And it was, the fire theme was a big part of it as well. The fire theme, because he had perished in a fire allegedly, was a big part of who this character was because we kept with the story. Man, it was a fire. It was a fire that killed his parents. It was a fire that really damaged his little brother. His little brother just didn't pass." So that's where really the red and black came from. It kind of reminds you of fire, and it was evil in its tone, so you know, yeah, they were a perfect color scheme. We looked at a lot of different things. I think trying to pull it off as if it was not a mask and do it like a burn victim was not something that we looked at seriously because we wanted to cover him up. That was the idea. It was shame that I'm ashamed of the way I look. I want to cover myself up. Don't look at me because I'm hideous, so I don't recall ever doing anything to try and get a mask like that made. When it came to Kane's eventual debut, Pritchard added, "Well, I think everybody was anxious. We were anxious as well, and when you're looking at it, you're still looking at the end game of the first time that they ever touch is at WrestleMania. Well, if you do it too soon, it's a long time not to touch. Those are a lot of hurdles to clear, so the longer you can wait before you ever see them, the better. And at that time, we didn't have monthly PLEs the way they are now, and it just didn't seem to move as fast. So you had, yeah, we did have monthly, but it was not as special within your house. It was just different." At a fan signing, Drew McIntyre was asked to sign a Chicago flag. Given this is CM Punk's hometown, McIntyre wrote "F CM Punk, lots of love," along with his signature. Revealing how she felt going into her match for the Stardom 5-star Grand Prix, AEW star Anna Jay said this.
Sure. I think I had the most anxiety leading up to this match. You know, I got the first one out of the way, first win. Second match Starlight hit, I lost, but I still felt good. And then this one I was scared to death, to be honest. But I did it. And I'm proving that I deserve to be here and deserve to keep working at this. Sherry is amazing, and I hope I get to wrestle her again, even though my arm probably will be hurting for days. So, I'm loving it here. I'm tired, I'm sore, but I want to keep going. Thank you.
Giving praise to Rhea Ripley and what she has accomplished in WWE, Hulk Hogan said this to WrestleBinge. "Rhea, I love her, man. She is like the bomb.com. She's got it figured out, man. She's on fire. She's a Hellcat, man. I think her and Charlotte Flair are neck and neck, and then Ripley's got a little extra gas in her tank whenever she needs it, so that's really fun to watch." During that same interview, Hogan revealed 3 people he would like to face in WWE if he were physically capable of doing so. If Roman Reigns was a babyface, I'd love to work with him. And my other 2 guys would be Seth Rollins and CM Punk. I think we'd do some crazy business. When it comes to the schedule in AEW for the Young Bucks, Ringside News wrote that the Young Bucks signed new contracts with AEW last year along with Kenny Omega, which came with certain benefits. Now, as AEW Executive Vice Presidents and Tag Team Champions, they have a reduced schedule in addition to their substantial contracts with Tony Khan. The Wrestling Observer newsletter reported that the Young Bucks' 2-week absence was planned in advance. They were scheduled to take time off to sell the Blood and Guts injuries, although it was suggested that this could have been better incorporated into the storyline with a more intense conclusion to that match. However, the match didn't include a major injury angle, and the show didn't emphasize any injuries resulting from it. They missed only 2 Wednesdays along with Okada, and their names were mentioned in a storyline involving the suspension of Britt Baker. It's noted that the Young Bucks had planned family vacations well in advance, intending to take 2 weeks off after Blood and Guts. Their new contract includes fewer dates than the previous one, ensuring they don't use up too many appearances. This time off was agreed upon months ago. The report also mentioned that due to the number of dates left, the Young Bucks won't appear on every Wednesday show through December, but will be around for most weeks. It was noted that they've worked most Wednesdays this year, so it's not like they signed a part-time or Brock Lesnar type deal. The amount of television time they receive will be something to watch. Discussing her transition to AEW and writing for Mercedes Moné, former WWE writer Jen Pepperman told the AEW Unrestricted podcast, "It initially started with a conversation with Mercedes. I worked very closely with her at WWE, so it started as this conversation of her having this really great opportunity to come to this really great company, and would I have any interest of coming along with her. First, I have to say I adore Mercedes not only as a talent, but a person. She's one of those people, she's just really special. She's someone that has been a pioneer in this industry. People talk about breaking down barriers and shattering glass ceilings. Well, that's exactly what Mercedes has done. She's inspiring to me. I think Mercedes doesn't really know how talented she is. We just connected in a way creatively. I love the creative process. What I love most about that process is that it's collaborative. I believe the creative process is the best when it's collaborative, and Mercedes is a really great collaborator. We work really well together, and I just believe in her so much. The WWE was a really great place for me. I worked with a lot of great people. I have a lot of friends there. I wish them well, but for me, Mercedes and I, our working relationship was unique and special, and it was a chance to continue that journey." Revealing that he thinks Triple H has tried to prevent him from making a return to WWE, former head of creative for the company, Vince Russo, said this on his podcast. "I got no heat, bro. I got no animosity whatsoever with Trips. Yes, bro, Trips, tried to keep me away from WWE in 2002 because he wanted him and Stephanie to have all the creative power when Vince McMahon kind of hired me back there, which was wrong for Vince to do, and Triple H made it clear, bro, he did not want me there. They wanted the power. And you know what, bro? I totally get that. That's what freaking professional wrestling is all about, bro. It's all about power. It's all about ego. It's all about being on top. I get it. I got no heat with the guy whatsoever, bro. I understand. I don't got a problem with any of it." Recalling Roman Reigns making a return to WWE at Summerslam, Booker T noted on his Hall of Fame podcast, "I loved it, but I thought it was a little premature, man. I thought Roman Reigns could have used a couple more weeks off. I didn't expect it. It was totally unexpected for me. I did not see it coming. It was a pleasant surprise, though, seeing Roman back in the fold." When it comes to the possibility of Logan Paul returning to Japan down the line, Ringside News wrote that Logan Paul discussed a potential return to Japan during a recent episode of the Impulsive podcast. WWE toured Japan for 3 dates in July, but Paul did not participate in the tour. This was notable because he was the US champion at the time, and LA Knight called him out for missing the show. Logan Paul's history in Japan is infamous due to a filming incident in 2017 in a forest known for suicides, where he recorded footage next to a victim. Afterward, he released an apology video, the first of many in his career, and attempted to move on from the incident. During the podcast episode, Dominic Mysterio was a guest, and the conversation with Logan Paul and co-host Mike Mashlak touched on Japan. Dominic asked, "You've never been to Japan?" "You've never been?" Logan replied, "I had prior obligations." Dominic continued, "You have to go." "Can you go?" Logan answered, "Bro, Dom, what do you think?" "Yes, I can go to Japan. I can go to Japan." Dominic asked further, "I'm just making sure. I didn't know if you were shadow banned or excommunicado." Logan assured him, "No, I'm not excommunicado." Dominic added, "I didn't know if you were put on a list or something." "WWE can pull some strings for you," Logan revealed. "I've never said this before, but my rule was if I went back, I would like to be invited back. I haven't gotten the invite yet." Co-host Mike joined the conversation, asking, "Who are you trying to get invited by?" Logan replied, "My best bet is the WWE. I'd be a real heel there." Dominic agreed. "Oh yeah, you would, especially if you show up with the hat." Logan quickly rejected this. "Stop. That was too far. That was actually too far, bro." Dominic clarified, "As a heel, you know." Logan reiterated, "That was too far, bro." Dominic returned to the main topic. Back to the topic at hand, Japan was great. It was fantastic. Logan expressed his thoughts on Japan. "I actually love Japan. Tokyo is like a giant arcade game. It's the cleanest, most beautiful city in the world, and my favorite city in the world. I effed it all up, and I hate that." Dominic asked, "Did you go to Osaka or just Tokyo?" Logan responded, "I didn't go to Osaka." Dominic commented, "Osaka is very nice." Logan inquired, "Do you explore when you travel to these places?" Dominic explained, "It depends. Usually we don't have time. We had time in Osaka and Tokyo." The hat Dominic Mysterio mentioned was the green Toy Story alien one Logan Paul wore during the incident in the suicide forest. This comment seemed to cross a line for Paul, but the question remains whether he still has that hat. Whether Logan Paul returns to Japan is yet to be seen, as he indicated he would need an invitation. His next trip to Japan would likely draw significant attention, and it is hoped that he will avoid the forest if he visits again. Asked if he regrets leaving WWE for AEW, Bryan Danielson told Gorilla Position, "Is there any part of you that regrets leaving? When you did, yeah, if things had changed, but you were still there, would you have stayed on?" "Oh no, not at all," on the idea that his decision to leave WWE was due to any dislike of the company. "Obviously, things have changed for the better there, substantially. But how I view it is that I've had an incredible time doing what I'm doing. There are a lot of people, and I think I'm one of these people, who prefer the style in AEW that's more wrestling focused as opposed to the drama focused style. I like the idea that there's an alternative. When I considered leaving WWE, it wasn't because I disliked WWE. I've always tried not to say anything negative about them because I really enjoyed my time there and the people I worked with. Those people are still my friends. One of the things I really wanted was to participate in something that improves the wrestling industry for everyone involved. I believe that having AEW as an option is much better for all of us." Going over concerns being expressed in AEW by those in the promotion, Ringside News wrote that since its inception in 2019, AEW has seen impressive growth and success. However, there has been a noticeable decline in its fortune since All Out 2021. Like any organization, AEW faces its challenges, including difficulties in selling tickets for live shows. It seems that the roster is also concerned about the company's attendance and overall popularity. AEW's attendance figures, ticket sales, and television ratings have been a topic of discussion within the wrestling industry, reflecting a noticeable year-on-year decline in the promotion's popularity. According to Dave Meltzer in the Wrestling Observer newsletter, there is concern within the AEW locker room about the promotion's current popularity and the less impressive attendance over the past year. Despite this concern, Meltzer notes that the locker room is generally in better state than it has been at times in the past. The recent incident involving MJF, Alicia Atout, and Britt Baker is believed to have been an isolated event and somewhat exaggerated. Critics have offered various reasons for AEW's drop in popularity since its peak in 2021 and 2022. However, it's important to recognize that wrestling promotions often experience cycles of highs and lows, and AEW is hopeful that this perceived downturn is just temporary. However, there is apprehension that AEW's current attendance figures could mirror WCW's decline in 2000, leading to worries about the company's future trajectory. Revealing that he and his brother Jeff Hardy were at the recent WWE SummerSlam event, Matt Hardy noted on his Extreme Life podcast, "We got on that plane, we get to Cleveland. As soon as we get to Cleveland, we were met by a WWE driver who picked us up to take us to the WWE TV hotel, where we went and recorded some media, some digital for those guys, which is going to air on some of their platforms coming up in the future. It was very cool. It was very cool to interact with a lot of the guys. We walked in, very first person we saw was Jey Uso, which was cool. Saw a couple of the other boys. We saw some of The Office. We got some really neat stuff that's going to be coming out on WWE Digital over the course of probably the next 3, 4, 5 months. Mentioning the situation with Afa Anoa'i's health, Ringside News wrote that the pro wrestling world was shaken by reports of losing another legend, but it has now been confirmed that Afa Anoa'i, at 81 years old, is still very much alive. This comes after reports came out that he is no longer with us, but his family quickly took action when that report came out. Although reports emerged that Afa has passed away, his daughter, Veil Anoa'i, and Samu have both confirmed that the wrestling icon is alive, putting to rest the premature tributes that surfaced. This does not mean he's out of the woods, as it was described that he is still fighting. Hopefully, he is able to make a full recovery. He's not done fighting yet, he's still alive. In recent years, Afa had been dealing with numerous health issues. He underwent multiple heart surgeries and several back surgeries following a serious fall. These health challenges took a significant toll on him, leading to growing concern about his well-being. It appears that the contracts for MVP as well as Bobby Lashley are officially expired, as the two can now be found on the alumni section of WWE's website. It remains to be seen what is next for the two and if they will stick together in a pro wrestling venture. Mentioning the possibility of making an appearance at WrestleMania 41 next year, Stone Cold Steve Austin told Adrian Hernandez, "WrestleMania this year's in Vegas, and I was doing an interview a while back and said, hey man, and that's 400 miles. That's like right here, where we're sitting, right down the road. I'm fixing to drive back to Reno in my buggy, but anyway, it'll be in Vegas, so I hope to be there this year. If Cody Rhodes needs another hand, I'll be there." Austin said this in regards to stepping back in the ring. "I'm very much into reality. I go out there and do something, but to answer your question, I think about it every now and then. But to go out and try to do it, be who I was, when you were an absolute machine, I consider myself a professional athlete because that's who I was. As a professional athlete, I worked at the highest level, and that's a rough-ass job, and it's a young man's yard." Austin was also asked how close he came to returning for WrestleMania 40.
This past WrestleMania was the 40th anniversary, and there was a moment with The Rock and Cody Rhodes. Rock with his heel turn, Cody Rhodes is bleeding, and in one of the trucks, your face was popping up. And with the new storytelling with Triple H, there was a lot of Marvel-esque theories that, that means Stone Cold is going to appear. Of course, that wasn't the case. I have to ask you, how close was that to happening?
Oh, it was close, and they certainly reached out to me, and we had conversations, but my wife and I had some things going on that I didn't need to go to Philly at that time. And but I have said, I miss that Mania, and god dang, Philly was a good town for me back in the day, and I appreciate those fans. We couldn't make it down on that one, but WrestleMania this year is in Vegas. And I was doing an interview a while back, and I said, "Hey, man, and that's 400 miles. That's that's like right here where we're sitting, right down the road."
We're 3 miles away from Allegiant
and
Stadium.
I'm fixing to drive back to Reno in my buggy. And so, but anyway, it'll be in Vegas. So I hope to be there this year.
Well, Cody said you haven't punched your ticket enough.
If he needs another hand, I mean, I'll be there. Yeah.
And this was your pro wrestling news update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see y'all later.